Gin and tonic may be the most interesting cocktail in the world. But depending on who and when you ask, it might not be considered a cocktail at all, but rather a medicinal elixir of staggering complexity. Consider gin is short for Genever, Dutch for juniper as in berry, the primary botanical or plant-based flavorant added to this clear-grained spirit, either during or sometimes after distillation. Gin was first concocted in Leiden, Holland, around 1650 by a medical professor named Sylvius, who believed, as did many of his peers, that juniper could remedy a host of ills, including kidney disorders, blood problems, and the plague. Now, thanks to William of Orange, the Dutchman who reigned over England with his wife and first cousin, Mary, at the end of the 17th century, gin became more popular in England than in Holland, and several different styles emerged, including London Dry Gin, which delivers sharp, upfront juniper and contains very, very, very little sugar. Perfect for a gin and tonic, if you ask me. Speaking of tonic, if legend can be trusted, just as Sylvius was distilling his very first batches of gin in Holland, on the other side of the planet, in Peru, in the New World, Countess Anna de Quinchon, the wife of the Viceroy of Peru, was in the process of coming down with malaria. And the process is remarkably simple. A female mosquito infected with a microscopic parasite called Plasmodium bites you. Little nasties get into your blood, go to your liver, and then they just wreak all kinds of havoc. Now, fearing that his wife would succumb, the Viceroy inquired of the local if there was a cure. And they turned him on to the bark of a tree that they called the fever tree, which was used as an anti-inflammatory and to treat the shakes and shivers accompanied by fevers. Now, I wouldn't believe this story, not one bit, were it not for the fact that now the official name of this tree is cinchona. Same spelling as chincona, after the wife who was supposedly cured. Now, various players, including the Jesuits, caught on to the power of this bark. They actually called it holy bark, and they brought it back to Europe. By the 19th century, scientists had isolated the responsible chemical, an alkaloid compound called quinine. All right, now various quinine tonics were then manufactured, and it was these that allowed European expansion into Southeast Asia and Africa. This was especially true in India, where the British East India Company and later the British Raj kept their soldiers pumped to the gills with the stuff. Problem is, being an alkaloid, quinine is unspeakably bitter. In fact, tonic makers tried to cover this up with flavorants and a lot of sugar, but in a stroke of genius, a British soldier whose name is lost to history decided to cut the tonic with gin to make its effects more pleasant. In the South, where I live, mosquitoes are a way of life, and I wouldn't dare risk walking out of doors without a gin and tonic in my hand. Let's mix one, shall we? I begin with 2 jiggers of London Dry Gin. It's really just a style represented by, say, Tanqueray, Gordon's, and my favorite, Beefeater 24. And no, they do not pay me to say that. As for tonic, well, that's even trickier than the gin. Consider this bottle of common grocery store tonic water. It's mostly carbonated water and high fructose corn syrup. Crap. Now, some small batch tonics have stepped up to the plate with better formulas that have better ingredients, but I take a slightly different tack. I like a tonic concentrate, 1 jigger of it. Now, this one that I'm using is made one state away in Charleston, South Carolina, and it is a strong quinine and cane syrup that is flavored with lemongrass and citrus. Now, mixing this way, I really like it because it gives me complete control over the flavor, and I don't have to worry about the bottle of tonic water going flat on me. How many times have you had that happen? All I have to do is add a couple of pieces of lime, some ice, and then top it off with just plain soda water. And yes, I like to use soda from my very, very own siphon. It's got plenty of fringe benefits, which we'll see. Oh, I should mention that with that little bit of lime in there, we're also protected from scurvy. Believe me, you don't want to have to mess with that stuff. Oh, absolutely delicious. Bracing, biting, and utterly refreshing. Remember, America, got the nasty bugger.